Well, hello there, everybody. We're late, but it ain't my fault. I already told these two it's their fault totally. But anyway, we're having fun, and because having fun is important. It's good for your psyche, it's good for your health. In fact, I think there's a Proverbs, ladies, that actually says, laughter doeth the heart as a good medicine. So anyway, welcome
I love
everybody.
that
So
one.
good to see. I do too. It's
Yeah.
I've lived by and there's so many testimonies of people who have laughed themselves to life again. You know.
And
Oh
heal
yeah.
tumors and stuff too. I've
Oh
seen a lot of
yeah.
documentation. Yeah,
Yeah, a
it's
lot of
amazing.
stuff.
Yeah, it does.
And
It gives the heart good medicine. Yes.
it is a good medicine. If you can learn to
Mhm.
laugh every day, I can guarantee you'll slow the aging process. But anyway, it's Tuesday. It is a second look. We thank you for being here. I have no electricians in the house, so everything should be fine. Yesterday, I was here live, and then the next thing I was in the dark. But anyway.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, listen, the dark is never the dark. It's just dark. But anyway, welcome everyone. I see a lot of folks in the chat room. Welcome everybody. So good to see everyone. We just speak favor over you all, and favor is something to be grateful for. And, it's like sowing a seed. If you sow the seed, you'll never have the need. And nothing missing, nothing broken. So, uh, welcome, ladies, two of the most beautiful spirit beings I know in the multiverse. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Wonderful.
I'm good to be here.
Happy Thanksgiving. I know
Happy Thanksgiving.
you don't celebrate it in England, but we celebrate it here, and it's one of those, it's probably one of the most neutral holidays I can think of because we all can be grateful.
Hmm.
I'm grateful, for my wife, grateful for the favor in our life, grateful for you two, grateful for this community. So,
Me too. I have so much gratitude. I got to throw my dad an 80th birthday party, and all the family got
congratulations.
together. And it's wonderful when you can get together and everybody have a wonderful, amazing time, enjoy each other's presence. And that was a big ball of gratitude. It was a wonderful day.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I think the overall energy of the world, maybe this plane, let me just say this plane, has definitely shifted, to the positive side of the equation. I guess no pendulum can stay static
Yeah.
in one direction. The dynamics of it's going to pull it eventually to the other side. Wouldn't you say
Yep.
so, Jenny? And by the way, you're looking both are this beautiful. Y'all both have a glow about you. And yeah,
Mm.
Thank you.
dudes, I've got the best seat in the house. I'm just telling you. So, and I know there's several dudes are like, man, pretty envious. And I'm like, yep. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
anyway,
You've got the patience of a saint as well. I think
Yeah.
don't worry, Trina. It's
Right.
he drives that bus while we talk.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We do sometimes make sudden turns without any notice, but hey, that makes the fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Jenny, how are you out there? How's everything in your country?
Oh, no, good. The country is going to hell in a handbasket, but we're good actually. We're in high
What
spirits.
does
We
that
are.
idiom mean? To hell in a handbasket. It's one that I don't. I use it myself, but as you said it, I'm
I
going.
see it as like
What does
a
that
little
mean?
bit like the Red Riding Hood story, that the basket
To
contains lots
hell
of,
in a handbasket.
yeah,
So
but
what is
that,
a handbasket is what Little Red Riding Hood was carrying, right?
yes, yeah, like a
Oh, you know who
foraging bag.
else carried it? If we look at the pictures of the Sumerians, supposedly of the gods, they carried that little basket.
Yeah, yeah. So things can be
Hmm.
delivered in the basket that can look good, and gifting, but the trades are happening with baskets all over this country that send it to hell,
You know what
literally.
I was
Beware of the
saying?
basket.
My I was getting your hands weave the basket. So your actions and your deeds weave the basket of your consciousness. So if if you really like enjoy really rotten things, hell in a handbasket. You literally created hell in a
Yeah,
handbasket.
But to be
You're
the
right, Trina.
contrarian, go, what's that, Jenny?
Trina's totally right as well from a foraging perspective. Weaving plait in hair, I'm always putting plait in the hair and stuff. It's a very ritualistic thing. And when you do it in a ritualistic way, baskets actually have a lot of energy in them because it's all weaving by
Mhm.
hand. If you don't dry the wood out properly, it rots. It
Yeah.
doesn't hold origin. So Trina's got
But
it
see,
there
I
as
look
well.
at hell maybe as heaven, but that's just because, you know, I don't buy into the really. But anyway, like I said, there's one of the sudden turns. We just to hell in the handbasket, you know.
So,
Mhm.
the
Back on
handbasket.
the road. So, other than the country going to hell in a handbasket, how are you and how's the family?
Great, great. We're all doing really good. Happy days. The boys are looking forward to the season of giving, and being given to. Probably the latter more than anything else. So yeah, they're excited. Yeah, it's good. It's like Trina
Excellent.
says, I think you see the beauty in what could be described as the norm, routine, or even mundane when things are going on around you that are so iconic in time that they'll be in the history books, decisions that
Yeah,
are being
this
made.
is it.
You're
Yeah.
you sort of notice the good shines that bit brighter. The people that you smile at anyway, or tell that you love anyway every day. I don't know. You can really sink into the meaning of it more, the celebration of it, like Trina with her father, of it. You really, I don't know, it makes you savor it more. So I think a lot of us here are in that space too, of the connections that are made. Nothing truly great or fantastical has happened this week, but we've really enjoyed each other's company. We've really enjoyed those moments that you could describe as just daily moments when you've got nothing so terrible to compare it to. But when you do have that comparison, like Trina says, it's shifting, it's moving, it's celebratory, you really notice the detail of people's faces. And so I think that's something to be said for
Well, the world is still a messed up place. We're closer to World War III than we ever have. This war will, they said World War I would be a war that would never be fought again. But yeah, and what I'm trying to point out, so there is a scripture that actually says that there's a peace that surpasses all understanding that will mount guard over your heart and mind. And, when you live that, and it doesn't have to be associated with religion, it's a state of consciousness where you just have this supernatural peace. I mean, stuff's going on, but
Yeah.
it,
absolutely.
it doesn't affect you. I mean, it's like,
Mhm.
that's cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I
What's
think
next?
that's I think that's the gift of when we can finally start to balance the polarity of the realm we're existing in, because you can see it, but it doesn't affect you. But you're part of it, but you can put yourself outside of it because you have an understanding that we're more than this existence, first of all, which helps a lot. And then second of all, it's all for a reason. This is all functioning in the way that we imagine it. And we're starting to see that we actually can affect, especially our own immediate surroundings, and fall into a place of a peace that surpasses all understanding. And that's the shifting of the frequency of this planet. No matter how hard they hit us, the people that can find that field of resonance, that's building, that's how we win. That's how we won.
That's actually in the book of Philippians, by the way.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Philippians 4:17. Yeah. And,
Mm,
you know, and it's exactly that. You can walk through the fire and never have the smell of smoke upon you.
yeah.
That is a state of being where you have that peace. Back in the days when I was in Bible school, there was discussions on, well, how could a man, because Jesus never said he was a god, never said he had supernatural powers. He said he was a man. So how does a man defy the laws of physics, science, such as walking on water? Well, we know now that you can get into a state of perfect peace within
Yes.
that ascends the physical laws. You're not breaking any of them. You're just adapting to them in a perspective that we can't see. So
Yeah, it's
love
all about
wins.
vibration. It seems like the vibratory state of the body gives you access to different sensory
I think it
perception and
does.
abilities. Yeah. And now they're finding it's like all this supernatural stuff we're finding out now. This is probably organic to every single human being. They're sleeping because we've never used them and been told not to. And oh, that's bad and stay away from it. So I think that's been the downfall has been what we've believed from others rather than trusting in what we could do on our own.
And that's always been a challenge. Every generation
Mm.
faces that. It's like, and today I think that they have more challenges than I did growing up. I was, grew up in the late 50s and early 60s, and
Mhm.
it was a different reality. Now, the thing about it is, I mean, I can still remember first grade, still
Mhm.
doing the duck and cover drills because
Mhm.
Kennedy had the ships surrounding Cuba, and I look now today where we now have the same situation Ukraine, where we got a president who's just gone rogue, is considering to give Ukraine nukes. I mean, this is crazy. Your
Nobody
country,
wants
Kenny,
us.
and Europe was just told by the NATO chief that you need to start preparing for a mindset and a condition of war. I mean,
Well, if you go on that, we've been for the last year, they've been increasing the duck and cover routines at school, at our
oh, they're
school.
actually doing those here because they
They have
suspended it.
for
That was
about
only a thing for the
18 months.
60s.
Yeah, for about
No,
18
Wayne,
months
I
they've
had
been.
it. I had it in the 70s.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, we did. In third grade and second grade, we had those. I remember that. I think we even had them up to fifth grade. I remember that.
I'll
We
have
would
to.
be told to go underneath the desk and take cover. Yeah, we had fire drills and then we had duck and cover drills. We had two different kinds.
I bet you that's a
Yeah.
Mandela effect, but that's just me.
Oh, it could be because
Because
because I'm one of those ones
I know
where
once the
my
Cuban
memories
Missile Crisis
are here.
stopped, they stopped doing that in public school. But we live in
I
a.
never experienced them. They didn't tell the parents either. They kept it really quiet, and a lot of kids were getting really nervous. But if you
Yeah, I
think of
did.
just,
So that's
yeah,
interesting. So they brought that back there in the UK.
COVID during the last, those years, let's call them.
Mm-mm.
But they've been doing that in primary and high school, and they're doing it once a month at minimum. So they're literally drilling it into the kids, not quite telling them why, which is the most frightening part, I think, which is why they should have told parents so we could have prepared them. But if you think
Mhm.
of London, just I think yesterday, all CCTV cameras were down all day. So London is one of the biggest, most cameraed
It
up
is the
cities.
number one city in the world that has more cameras per capita.
All of them were down. They couldn't get them up all
So
day.
you
All of them.
had a complete blackout.
Yeah, of a whole city of London. And then we've had numerous things like the NHS being hacked, so doctors can't get into any information, prescriptions or diagnosis for a few days. So that's happening quite often now, these attacks on
Cyber
big business.
attacks.
Cyber attacks
Yeah.
are happening a lot here. Banks have been down a lot in the last month, I would say. All of a sudden the apps will be down for a few hours and they'll be back up again or for a full day. One day last month. So it's gaining momentum.
Mm,
They're showing to be done through cyber war. But so are we.
mm.
So
Well, this is the reality of the day that we live in. I often, think that is ET going to allow us to go ahead and actually use nukes? I mean, And we're that close, but not to bring everybody down. We're here to be talking about Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
more
yeah.
importantly, Jenny, you have put together a presentation, a material, and I thought, well, I think I've gone through it, I've seen it, and it's remarkable. So, Jenny, just going to let you have the floor and everyone just get in for a treat because you've put a lot of work into this, right?
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. It came in words quite well, but the presentation part of it, the tech part of it, does not come so easy. So, yeah,
The
that
concept
bit.
is always easy. It's writing the idea down. It's like,
Yeah,
geez,
yeah.
yeah, it's a
It might
discipline.
hold it up like I did when I first started YouTube. Literally, Susie can attest to this. I couldn't make a thumbnail, so I started making, if you look at my first videos, thumbnails just with crayons and holding it up to the camera and saying, "There you go." So that I've come a long
That's
way.
authentic. Jenny,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
authentic. That's what that is. I mean, that's real life.
Yeah.
it's been a
I love
learning
that.
curve. And Susie
Was
can attest to Silk and Gaia until I learned how to make
I just want to say
thumbnails.
hello, everybody in the chat room. I've seen so many people saying hello. We love you, and you are part of our Thanksgiving. Uh,
Yes.
the love and the expression of compassion and care in this group goes without saying. So thank y'all. So Jenny, you have
Yeah,
it. So I'll let you do it, and have it go. You've got the whole thing.
great.
Yeah.
So can I share screen?
Yes, you can.
Um, Okay, so I want to do more and share.
Getting everything up and running. She's trying to drive the bus, Wayne.
There it
Ah, there it
is.
goes.
Do you see
Got
how we
it.
did that? We got up and left before y'all even knew what happened.
Take your foot off the gas. I've got it. I think. Okay, so it should come up full screen for people.
We can see it.
So
There we
this
go.
great. So this is the conscious observer program, material, whatever you want to call it, that I wrote up for this group in particular, because I think it resonates with a lot of what we've been talking about and a lot of what we really need to hone in on to hone into that power that is innate to us, as Trina says. It's innate, it's for us to have. We just need the information and the keys as to how to put it together and make it work. So the conscious observer for me always comes up as the Hermit card. And you'll see in the Hermit deck, in the Hermit card, in the tarot deck, is always dressed in plain clothes that sort of match the background, holding up a lantern with his staff because it's rocky ground. For me, he doesn't speak. He sees through the perception of the vibration. He takes light into the darkest places. So some people get nervous of the hermit, but it's where a lot of the power lies for you to balance out and manifest in the physical from the etherical. So the conscious observer acts as an interface between the physical and the etherical planes by creating a balance within self. The ability to observe reality without falling into the pit of distractions, but to wield your power independent of space and time. The observer exists in the void of timelessness within you, ever present without the filter of our mind superimposing its own limitations on the reality. So we've got a mantra here that you can keep in your mind throughout this. I'll observe with clarity, detached and free, grounded in the present, I simply be. Oh, sorry, I've gone backwards. So here we find ourselves talking about now the extreme version of Plato's cave theory in the age that we are living in. So I asked AI to design this, and it came up with the slaves in the cave tied with their chains, but it automatically put in the distractions of tech. So the new cave is tech, and that is so expansive, so saturating. We are in an extreme version of what Plato described in his cave theory, in which the shadows can feel ever more real. And how much more real do those shadows feel when you're seeing them on a screen and they literally look human sometimes? Games look real when you get in right into them. This cave is extreme. We're doing well here to even know that we're looking at shadows.
What's
So
the chains represent? Do
the
you see the
chains
chains on the
represent,
wall? That
yeah,
means
yes.
everybody is slave to it.
Yeah, they're enslaved to their own shadows, and they don't not even perceiving them as shadows, they're perceiving them as a reality. So you can imagine through our tech now, we're saturated in other people's realities, other people's observations. So we're not even looking at our own shadows most of the time. We're looking at a projection of whatever someone else's projection may be that then we perceive in the cave. So you can see how much more entangled we are. But the conscious observer sits beyond the lens, just like in Plato's cave. The one that got out tries to shout back to say, it's a cave, there's a world beyond the cave, there's a valley, there's a lake, there's life. But these people, until they're ready, will not hear it. They could slay that person for lying, for going against the shadows that they've been enslaved to. So the chains of their consciousness exist within the cave and find it difficult to exist outside of it. So their reality actually becomes less and less real and less authentically driven by them. And so the conscious observer sitting beyond that lens is that person that gets out of the shadow, working in hermetic frequencies rather than one field of vision, where these people are looking with their eyes, they're letting their mind superimpose the perception of what they see in their eyes, but they're not even controlling what they're seeing most of the time through this tech medium. So working in these frequencies, yeah, it's more than any one field of vision, it's the whole fractal state coming together and being able to observe. So rather than being stuck in the cave, becoming the observer means being free, free in an expansive field of knowing, a mutable shifting force. Socrates, as recounted by Plato, how could they see anything but the shadows if they were never allowed to move their heads? Now that hit me when I read it. It hit me that how apt that is today, where you tech is so honed in to keep you there, keep you there, keep you there, keep you scrolling. So that quote is so spot on for me today. The key attributes of the conscious observer. So it's an awareness of what is being observed without being defined by it. It is being able to experience the matter around that experience without that matter controlling the fractals within. In the present now, recognizing the thoughts and feelings and emotions without being swept away by them, rather than using them as a tool rather than a driver. Detachment, being able to be mercurial in nature, i.e., the detachment of self in any confrontation, any observation, allows you to see in a mercurial way, which is balanced, it's whole, it's being able to perceive the whole situation, the energy coming from somebody, the energy that's being emitted from you, the conflict that you're seeing. You're enveloping yourself in the all of it and becoming one with it. So therefore, you don't feel the need to fight for one side or the other. You're observing in the etherical. Self-reflection, the ability to reflect without self-deprivation. People are afraid to reflect because they're afraid of how cold they can be to themselves. They're afraid of feeling wrong. Whereas if you have that detachment and the ability to self-reflect, you can do that without being swept away again, as we said in the first key here, taken away by thoughts, intent and motivations. You're able to see where the you lies in the experience rather than the experience that is controlling you, leading to greatness, the self-avatar. Judgment, as in a measure, a tool, a balance, not judgment as we're taught to have judgment over others or this judgment over self, but judgment of the equation of the components of it. The resonance, being able to communicate through and with and manipulate energy fields. Decisiveness, the ability to observe a thought or energy and the resonance of it and stay firmly dedicated to the action required, again, not being swept away. So this one goes into what we can do, how we can get there. And a lot of it you've already heard, but hopefully hearing it in this presentation gives it a refreshing thought process in your mind that you're able to then apply. So mindfulness meditation. So 68 seconds is a surprisingly long time to hold one thought, but Abraham Hicks described 17-second intervals 4 times. If you can hold that thought for 17 seconds throughout the day, even if you have to break it up into those 4 times to get to the 68, you automatically accelerate and stir the cauldron of energy that you're sitting in with that thought for the next process. So you're much more likely to catapult yourself into the manifestation of that thought that you're holding for 17 seconds. If you think about how many thoughts we hold a day and how many of those are negative and not even belonging to us, you can see how the observer seems to create a space and time in the physical world that doesn't exist for other people, in that they seem to have more time because they're not distracted by the stuff that doesn't belong to them. Journaling. I can shake off anything as I write. My sorrows disappear. My courage is reborn. Anne Frank. So these are people that have written diaries, iconic people through difficult times, given inspiration for generations to come. But during that time, it's a survival tool to be able to journal, to be able to get out what is in the conscious field, flying around into words that can be read, burnt, however you want to process them after that. They're much more easily processed. And it gives you a time jump to be able to look through your journal, to literally time jump to see your progress, see things you may have forgotten, see things that apply even more now because you have more knowledge. So journaling is key for me. Stillness, be still. Stillness reveals the secret of eternity. Lao Tzu. So in the stillness where the hermit lies, without speaking, without really looking with the eyes, but holding up to hold those frequencies, to feel the light and the warmth of those frequencies or the cold, in that stillness, that's where the expansiveness lies. And that's where a lot of our answers lie when we're being the conscious observer. So here we go into the realm of the 9. And so we've got here another depiction of the hermit, and he's playing with these shapes, the pyramid, the square and the triangle, the circle behind him there. Those are key shapes that we'll come to, but in the hermit, the tarot cards have him dwell within the 9, the inner path, working within the triangle, drawing on and manipulating the energies within, existing in a space where linear time does not exist, only eternal discovery. The adept hermit does not feel a void in the stillness, instead is enveloped in energetic matter to observe and create from, making no judgment as to what is good or bad, but rather what is apparent, unveiling a self-awareness that allows for change. From this foundation, stirring the ethereal cauldron to incorporate the circle and square. The substratum geometry creation that all creation is birthed from. All covens, Magick, philosophers use these shapes. There's a reason that we're drawn to putting these shapes into toys when we're children, because they work. They are the geometric building blocks. You look at the pyramids that we have, magic is drawn from them, and much more magic was drawn from them because of these shapes. So if you look here, and picture you as the hermit in the realm of the nine that Tesla described as the endless possibilities in the frequency of 3 and 6 and 9, and the repetitiveness of those numbers, and how those numbers rebirth themselves within themselves in any equation. So we have the eternal plane, the eternal spiral in the middle there, the 8, the strength. Then we have the ethereal plane depicted as the triangle, the pyramid, and the physical plane depicted as the square. Those two together actually create the pyramid. When you're sitting as the hermit in the ethereal plane as the observer, stirring that energetic cauldron and able to apply two different shapes, forces to create your manifestation for what you're experiencing or seeing or wanting to learn. This is where the magic happens, that you bridge the gap between the ethereal plane and the physical plane. The number 9, the hermit, you are that bridge. So if you're consciously doing this and consciously observing yourself doing this, this is how you start to play with your reality. The way that you actually feel and experience your reality around you much more in a much more knowable way and provable way. So there's challenges, isn't there? There's got to be. It's difficult. And if you go back to Plato's cave, I feel like Wayne said, it's even more difficult than ever because we're saturated in so much that wants to take us to the physical distraction, and that distraction being driven by someone else or something else. So we do have to work that bit harder. We do have to be real. There is challenges. So there's distractions and wandering thoughts. And in this type of Plato's cave with tech, those wandering thoughts and distractions are many. There's no getting around it. It's about practicing mindfulness. It's about practicing no tech time. It's about practicing putting things that are good and whole over tech. It's about being okay with feeling grounded, meditating, and just letting go of those thoughts that come in, rather than saying, I can't do this, I can't meditate. You don't have to sit still to meditate. Find your flow. You could find that, like me, sometimes it's easier when you're really pushing or moving your body. Your mind can relax and that ethereal plane can really take play. So practicing the mindfulness is the only way, like going to the gym, that we start to flex those ethereal muscles that can then play with this triangle and square that we are sitting in the middle of. So emotional reactivity. Practice observing emotions without judgment of in a way that is depraving yourself, but just observing them. Where did those emotions come from? How do they play? Use it as a tool to dig deeper without becoming disappointed in self or disappointed in others, just observing them. Judgment and bias. Creating a neutral space, and we've got plenty of practice in this cave that we find ourselves in, of being able to observe something without feeling emotionally attached to it. And when we do, observing that and unpicking it and seeing where the patterns are that we need to break down in order to not be triggered emotionally, but to rather use the tools as the emotions as a tool that we drive rather than others or even themselves drive. Consistency. Set goals to incorporate meditation 1 minute at a time, 17 seconds at a time. And that's all it takes 4 times a day to go into the magic that Hicks describes. So the consistency is key also. Automatic behaviors. Journal your reactions and actions at the end of each day to see more clearly where your automatic responses are taking place. Again, much more manageable, much more easily to control when you've put them down in paper into words. Just that practice alone makes you clarify the thought more in order to manifest it into the physical. And it's actually a practice of the hermit, because you're bringing from the unseen, ethereal words that are physical that you can then manage and read and go back over. Overwhelm and stress. again, the age that we find ourselves in with such blue light, LED lights around us, we know that everything is affecting sleep. So going back to the farmer's sleep routine is key to being in balance with the nature around you and being able to be in balance within self and within the body. Balanced nutrients, exercise, breath work, and meditation. Again, all of those things are keys into the ethereal plane where you become the bridge and the magic for the triangle and square to be incorporated into the physical, to make your physical matter around you. Lack of immediate results. When you're not seeing immediate results, it's difficult, and you can go back to those self-deprecating thoughts. You do. Start at the beginning again and go again. It is what it is. It's the challenges that you face being the observer. So in conclusion, we can choose to be the conscious observer or the observed. It's okay to be either, but actually it's the conscious observer in the middle plane that can actually get into that nine, that realm of possibilities that can create the matter around them much more consciously, much more intently. So it's not easy here to be the conscious observer because of the things that we do see and that we have to experience. But when you find the 0 point within the self knowing that you are all, we start to make the initial path less hard. With that practice, with the challenges that we went through, these challenges get easier. It's easier to meditate when you're doing the dishes all of a sudden. It's easier to slip into that unseen realm and have your body on automatic response so that people don't even know what you're doing to bring about your physical manifestations. It gets easier with practice and consistency and good sleep. Are you ready to live? Are you ready to really experience and be the observer? Are you even ready to change the matter around you? So the more of us that can do this, this is how we shift. This is the as above and below. The circle in the middle, the triangle and the square is the as above, so below. So the more that we can go in numbers into the conscious observer space of the nine, that is when we start to control more of the experience here, more of the systems here, more of the way people live here. So it's up to us that are adept and ready to do so to become this. So this is just a short practice for people. So if everybody would take a comfortable seat, take a deep breath for me, feel the love that I emit for you. I definitely feel the love that you emit for me and give gratitude for that. Take notice of this red balloon. It's just a tool, a way of us being able to catch those thoughts when they start to wander in. So this is just a practice for 17 seconds. Take some deep breaths for me. Let go with each breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, any tension, any expectation, and just feel yourself be. As this clock goes around, hold a thought, any thought. Any time that thought starts to break, open your eyes and look at this red balloon. Close your eyes again and hold that thought again. Very soon this clock's going to stop ticking, and there you go, and you've done the 17 seconds. You've done the initial time of holding a thought. In that space, you sunk into the space of the conscious observer. You knocked on the door of the ethereal plane that is you, and you became a player within self. So 4 times a day, set that target to hold a thought for 17 seconds, and let's see what we can manifest individually and collectively. Because when I look into the consciousness of the people in this room, which is why I wanted to make this for you all, the beauty and the colors that can't even be described in this language that I feel and see, I would love to see your creative manifestations be painted on this experience for me to observe. It would be truly an honor and a privilege to do so. So I look forward to the splashes of color that you bring to the physical plane by going further into the nine, the conscious observer, and working with those hermetic frequencies within self. I love you all.
Excellent.
I love it. That's
Jenny,
awesome.
the slide with the cave, did you notice on the wall that either that was a mirror or those people were in darkness because the ones in the cave were in light. Um, and you said AI generated that.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
so interesting because, understanding how AI perceives things. So, very, very well done presentation. It is a
Mhm.
tool and it's a key um, to actually achieve that which we desire.
Yes. And be that bridge, and it's where that power lies, and it is all within, and it does just on a daily basis in those mundane practices when you come across people that are challenging you. It's like Jung described, isn't it, where you become the all, and it's not that you give in, you envelop all of it, so that you let go of the self in the middle, and that all becomes that oneness, that the mercurial nature, that you're able to see and experience things. All of a sudden, with most arguments, with most challenges, you'll see that once you go into that realm of the nine, that a lot of the things that were challenges and arguments that were trying to hook you in, or that you were trying to hook into, don't even belong to you. And if they do, you can't do anything for anybody else, but you can project a different image to them, of them, by becoming part of them rather than seeing them as a separate entity or lesser than. So it just dissolves so much tension in your life, even just on a daily basis, to practice this, going into the nine.
Yeah. Yeah. And it works. It really does.
Mhm.
I like how
Mhm.
you said, when you do dishes or chores, whatever it is around your house, that's a form of meditation if you can get into it. I had a number of years of as a drywall finisher to practice that. I didn't even know what I was practicing
Mhm. I
On,
because
still
wash
do
off.
that on the daily.
when you're just doing,
Your job.
yeah, mile after
Mhm.
mile of finishing. And that's where I developed a lot of what I have today was in those
Mhm.
times of just the mundane.
Mhm.
The stillness. You could find
Yeah.
the stillness because your body learned what to be doing, and you were going automatically in that space of stillness of where there's no distraction. Your body's able to automatically do what it's doing. Your mind is busy enough that it's encapsulated by what your body's needing to do. So it's a really great way of going in the back door to the hermits, to
Yeah.
the nine,
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
keeping your body busy. It really helps me to, especially when I'm getting lots of messages and inloads and downloads and uploads. I need to go and work the body. I've got to. It's my
Me
way.
too.
It's my back door of
Me too.
getting into that space where I'm writing the code rather than when the code is getting written for me. And all of this comes into the zeros and ones, the programmers, the rendering of a game, like I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, where the game isn't just always fully there. The castle's there, but the inside of the castle only renders once the person walks in as their character to observe it. And it's like the double split theory, the observational tool and the ability to do it outside of the perception of self is so powerful. And working automatic. It is Karate Kid, isn't it? The wash on, wash off. He
Yeah.
had him just washing cars, didn't he? At the start, he
Mhm.
didn't even doing any fight moves. It was just this automatic where he knew he would find the back door to let go of the challenges he was existing in, which were many. I loved Karate Kid. I
Mhm.
was banned from watching it when I was young because I would start becoming a Karate Kid. Not very well, jumping off the sofas and doing the crane at a little brother. So I was banned from it because it resonated with me. There's a lot of teachings in it, in just keeping your body busy, and not setting the challenge. It's lovely to have candles and be, it's gorgeous. It's a wonderful experience, but how many times are you going to fit that in a day? At this present
There's
time,
a
that's difficult.
There's a word in Hebrew, Sheila. In the book of Psalms, David wrote, "Be still, O my soul, and know the serenity of God."
Mhm.
And it is a practice that you can quiet your soul anytime you want. And you can get into this place where the noise is basically white noise. It is that place of peace. And it's something I carry with me all the time. I can, if I get really stressed out, I just have to say Sheila and quiet my soul. And then
That's
you're
it.
in that place.
Yeah.
So that's your red balloon. That's your red balloon. Sheila is your
Mm.
red balloon. It's that zap, that word that you've given. So that's really powerful for people here too, to give themselves words that are back doors, quick back doors that you've practiced in meditation, so that when you say them in a moment, they happen in a flash, that peace that comes over you, or that strength or courage, whatever it might be. That's a really good practice.
Now I'll
That's
tell
your
you the other
backdoor.
color of my balloons off the air because I got different colors. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I got the purple one. I got, yeah.
Absolutely.
nice.
I love
Absolutely.
the red balloon. I mean, when you had that graph up there, um, and when your mind gets used to that, I mean, I can look at that balloon and I began to see my own reflection in it. And it's a very interesting technique that, it's like, okay, so I'm outside, but I'm looking from the outside inside.
And it's curved, so it's like your two eyes meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
It's childlike,
And it's
and
the
it
reflection.
me I'm able to let go of the balloon when I need to, and see it. So often that balloon can have things written on it for me,
Mhm.
that then I just let go of, watch it go. But every kid that lets go of a balloon gets transfixed on just watching this balloon experience the wind. So it's something that I like balloons.
Bonnie
So
says, I never have peace of mind or something in my head is always ringing. Well, that's that part of that exercise, and you really have to work at it. I mean, it's so true. Trina, you've been sitting there quiet.
Well, I was going to say, that's for me. My most powerful downloads, my most powerful information happens when I'm driving the car or when I'm working. It's because
Hmm.
my body is doing what it needs to do in the material realm, and I can connect to the higher part of my mind. And it's just like a daydream. And the more you honor that daydream and stay with it, the stronger that muscle gets. So a lot of people that are saying like I struggle with meditation, I can't do this. No, it's just you got to find your way. And I can do it now laying down, but I could never do that before. It took me years to get to that place. All of my higher information came typically through my wide awake state and physically busy doing stuff to keep my body complex and mental monkey mind busy. And as soon as I would
yeah,
do that, I can get into the back door, like Jenny's talking about, and I can observe and feel and perceive information from a different part of myself. And I think it is the observer, is that part of yourself that can reprogram the subconscious field. And it can, and like I said, when you start to connect to these different layers of your consciousness, it really helps you navigate who you are because you understand there's different parts of you operating within this construct. So it teaches you how to control emotion. It teaches you how to regroup. It teaches you how to focus in an appropriate way rather than creating the same stuff that you've been sabotaging yourself with for years and years and years due to the programs. The numbers,
This
the zeros, the 0 through 9, that's the manifestation of this whole place. It all works on that law. So the math
the
is just
17
solid.
seconds is key because,
Yeah.
if you can do 17 seconds, and it
Hmm.
is hard, it to hold a thought for most people, they can't do it for a couple of seconds. There's always the
difficult.
chatter, you know, but finding that place where you can just literally keep that in it, and it's important because once you start mastering that, things begin, well, many of us know these things.
And
Hmm.
don't be surprised if that chatter sometimes for me, is still there. It's still apparent, like Trina driving.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that is still able
But you're
to
the
say, oh,
observer and the experiencer.
yeah, yeah. So, but getting into that observer point, again, don't think of it, people, as it having to be perfect and candles and meditation music. Sometimes I can still hear that clutter, but I'm able to zone out into that number nine, into that realm where I can
Mhm.
hear it, but it's not of me. I can perceive it, but I'm not part of it. I can even react to it, but I'm not engaged with it. And so you can find that sometimes you will experience going into that nine and it won't be perfectly still. It won't be perfectly quiet. Even holding those thoughts for 17 seconds, I can do that now, but sometimes I still hear encroaching clatter come in that I'm having to sort of say, okay, no, hold back there, but focus there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just holding that thought within that clutter can sometimes be even more powerful because you'll physically start to see your energy drive the conflict away from you. You know, you'll see people
You
move away from you without you telling them to move, or you'll see traffic parting for you without you telling it to part. So sometimes it can be quite fun to
do you
still
know what
hear
this
the
also aids you in? On your death. If you can
mm,
learn to get the singleness of thought, to hold that thought in your passing, because we all will do it, you will find yourself much more adaptive to the other side quicker.
Yeah.
And
you'll know
it's
Especially
when
if you
you've
true.
want to, especially if you know where you're aiming. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of people too, they talk about trying to astral travel and these things, and some people get stuck. One of the things I've always had the most success with is when I actually had a target. So that's another thing too, is like when you have a good intention of what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and where you want to go, sometimes it makes it a lot easier.
And by the way, I'll give a shameless plug to Robert V over at Milky Way Soul Tribe. He's doing a thing on that. I was on there Saturday night, which
Mhm.
was fun seeing him and Lucky,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But it's interesting. So checking out, he's doing the thing. Hey there, guy. Raven, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. But it is so true because 17 seconds, and as we've been talking,
Mhm.
you can actually astral project when you're doing something.
Yes.
You really can. Again, I go back to the times I was finishing drywall. It was so monotonous that I found my ability to go within, and I had a number of visions. I was actually at the throne room of God. I was in this. It was like a sea of crystalline. The crystal went everywhere. But anyway, yeah. So it works, and you find out the diversity of these things we call bodies, spirits,
Mhm.
souls. I mean, it's far out. It really is.
Yes.
And Jenny, what a great presentation, hon. I mean,
Mhm.
it's now. Do you offer a course in this? Can you? Are
I've
you?
got some, yeah, I've got some brewing on the website, so people can go and have a look. But I'm going to set up some dates for things like this. This was just really written for here, because I've been very
Well,
grateful.
thank you. What a gift, honey. And I just simply call a hundredfold return. You know,
Thank you, thank you. But I could
Yes.
feel it during the presentation, so thank you, Trina, thank you, Wayne, for giving me the space to do that. And it's for here, but I'm doing those courses on the website. So when people start to show an interest, I can set some dates where we can get online together weekly and break it down, really go into like the nine, really go into the hermetic frequencies. And so I'm planning on that because I would enjoy it myself. So anything I would enjoy
Mhm.
myself, I know I'm going to give 100% to. So, but yeah, this
excellent.
one was mainly for the people here because of what we've been talking about. Um, this is the magic behind a lot of what, not the only magic, but a part of it that behind what a lot of we're talk that we're saying, change the physical manifestation and If you think of the triangle, the circle, and the square, it is the as above, so below. It gives a deeper meaning to that teaching, in that the as above, so below, when you're working in the perceived above and bringing that manifestation into the physical realm, but you're doing it with the hermit, the nine, with the consciousness, the observant nature, then that's when we will see, if enough people were doing that, that is true within seconds, this realm, the way it was set up, the importance that we put to things, what wealth would then mean, would change within seconds because of the ability of one individual, but collectively, that would be a jump, a time shift. But it's getting people there. But
And
that's not
these are
our
the
job.
tools that, so this is in me. It's part of my spirit, but I know the power of faith, and I know that faith has to be exercised. It's not trivial. It's not something that's just and the reason why most people face so much difficulties is that because they don't discipline or exercise their faith. This is how you get that, being able to call those things that be not as though they are. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the highest form of magic I know of, folks. I mean,
Shadow.
what
That's
the
the shadow.
freak? You think about it. You're calling something that doesn't exist as though it is,
Yes.
Yeah. Making it
Yes.
real.
making it
And that's
Making it
precisely,
real.
seeing it
Right.
as real.
Making it real.
Yeah.
Yes. To
I
see is to believe. So as soon as you can see it, then you can believe it. If you can see it, you can believe it. And this is the magic of what we are. We can see, and we can literally now, instead of stopping our power, we're starting to understand how to utilize the power. And it is about focus. And the
when you
17.
start jumping up and down and giving thanks and gratitude for
Mm.
something that doesn't even exist, you're well on your way, brother and sister. That's all I got to tell you. When you can make the emotion as real to you, and I can tell you, I've experienced this where you got tears of joy coming down. That is what I'm talking about. That's calling those things that be not, and that's that 17 seconds, because if you can get into the reality that this is happening and you have the emotion and the physical sensation, but nothing's changed, that is that's being a true wizard and witch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's my 2 cents worth. I mean, I used to do that when I went into casinos. I would
Mhm.
visualize usually a week before going of me hitting a jackpot, jumping up and down, saying, just doing the whole thing.
Woohoo! Yeah.
Oh, I went further
Yeah.
than that, man. I mean, you're just jumping up and down, and
Yeah.
it happens. It happens.
Mhm.
I
As
know
I said, if you
races.
can see it, you can manifest
You
it.
can.
But you have to believe it. Like you said, Wayne, the faith. The faith is
Lynn
the
saw us
key.
being
Yeah.
married before we ever met.
Yep.
I said, "You're the woman for me, darling."
Yeah. That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Gaia said we did as what you see, and it is so freaking true.
Yeah.
If you want to win the lottery, understand you're competing against tens
Million.
of thousands, millions of other psychic energies that are having the same intent and want. What makes the difference is that when you see it already has happened, you've already mapped it out, you've gotten excited, and you've just been so grateful. Get ready, because it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to
And that's
create
where
the
you're,
You
match,
got
the
to.
resonant
Yeah,
match.
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Jenny,
Get in the middle.
powerful presentation.
Yeah.
Guys
Thank
say
you. But
Paul's doing it right now. You see, that's what I'm talking about. You get the
Right.
happy feet, you know?
Right.
uh,
Right.
I mean,
and
I've done this and walking across the parking lot, I start skipping because if, again, we talked about this before, if you're skipping, you're happy.
Right.
yeah.
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 You
You're
don't
very
skip when
happy.
you're running away.
No.
You skip because, yeah.
And
Yeah.
like Trina, those emotions, and like you say, Wayne, when you you feel it when you're doing it as the observer. You're then picking up an emo rather than an emotion washing over you. You're picking it up and you're pouring it over you.
Mm.
Not feel it. You're deciding to feel it without any attachment of judgment or bias. You're just feeling it. So when you can do that, you really do get into the space of it's foreplay. You know that you're going to have a good experience or a good marriage when you've been envisioning it for so long or all day. You've been already preparing the mind for the moment that the body and the spirit will be exhilarated. When you're planning a good meal with good company and you're already cooking it and tasting it in your mind's eye, you're already setting up that scene, but you're feeling it. And that's where you're using those things that are innately given to us, emotions, drives, passions, as a tool rather than them being used on you as a weapon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Woo.
Mhm.
Well, that's powerful
Thank
stuff,
you.
ladies. Jenny,
Mhm.
I love this.
Me
Well
too.
done. And thank you, dear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Mhm.
Wow.
you.
Mm.
Thank you, Trina.
Thank
Thank everyone in the chat room and everyone listening.
you.
We do this is this is a very unique group.
It's a beautiful group.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, yeah, yeah. It's a manifesting group.
Too, I
Yeah.
think it came up a few times today, a peace that surpasses all understanding.
Mm,
I think many of us are here to be that anchor. So if ever
mm.
you're thinking, how can I help the world? Maybe that's a good place for us to start when we want to anchor and create a peace that surpasses all rational understanding. It's like not possible, but it happens. We need to
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
we can do that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So many deep, deep, deep truths. God. Well, we love everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And if you're celebrating it here in the United States, be safe.
Wow.
Have a good one. Just be grateful all the time. John Price says, Boston, be of service to others. It is. And the rest of y'all around the world, well, just give a day of thanks anyway. Doesn't
That's
hurt a
right.
thing.
Yeah.
In fact, you might find the gods come down and pat you on the back and say, thank you.
Yeah.
We had crows. Crows are a good sign. And so they came.
Mhm.
And so I gave them an offering. They love corn. So we have some ears of corn. And I mean, those birds were just doing a happy dance down there.
Yes, they were.
Little joy into their life.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. We will see you next Tuesday. I do believe, ladies, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jenny, I need to put your website into your contact information, but tell everyone where your website is again.
So it's www.hecate.com with a hyphen. So HEKAT-A.com. Check out the
Hecate-A.
blog as well. I've been blogging.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well,
Nice.
yeah,
I'll
so
get
I'll
that
put
in
it
there
in.
next time. Need to have started putting it into your profile, hon. So I'll get that
I
done.
do. I'm trying to incorporate all of that. Again, there's just so much.
It
Um,
is.
Mhm.
but it's good. I'm getting there. I'm creating the things like files and things that I can use to just have the things there ready, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you don't not start knowing what you need to have ready, to press send or post until you start just doing it.
Mhm.
But I'm getting more and more sales from word of mouth as well. So
See,
it's growing.
there we
Um,
go.
It's going to
it's
continue to grow, honey. It's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Thank you, sister.
More
It
And you
people are
know
is.
what?
looking
I'm
for
gonna
this.
shift this. Yeah, and I'm going to see you guys because of this. I'm going to feel you guys physically because of this. I know that, and I never forget um, people who lift me up.
Mhm.
And because I needed to learn how to do that better, and I'll always need to learn how to do that better. And Trina, you keep me in check with that, and you
Mhm.
lift me up and tell me what I'm worth in so many ways. And Wayne, you do that too. And the people in this chat, Susie Q, I'm here because of her. It's just such a beautiful space here. So So I wanted to share that here with these people because I'm
Thank
so
you, Nina.
grateful.
Nina just put it in the chat room, your
Thank you,
website.
Nina. Never forget, Nina, other people, the laptop that I'm working from, which is great, is because of you guys. So, you know, I just give when we say there's gratitude in this and gifting in this from my end, know it and believe it and use that energy however you want to apply it in your own lives. But I give it
Yeah.
freely here and it's abundant. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great
Love this
people.
group. That's all I got to say. Just love this group. All right,
Great.
ladies, y'all are just like the best thing in my life. So appreciate,
Mine too.
yeah,
Gratitude.
yeah. And much
Gratitude.
love to everyone out there. All right, folks, we hope to see you tomorrow. And, be good. This is a second look. I hope it was fun for you. If so, hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to these two ladies' channels. If you're not subscribed, I have to ask you, why not? All right. What are you waiting for? A personal invitation? All right, you got it. We invite you to please subscribe to Trina's channel and to Jenny's. There.
Thank you.
Much love.